Hallo zusammen, wir sind hier an der FUJIFILM Fujikina, aber nicht nur Fujikina, sondern am X-Summit in Prag 2025. Und da in Prag steht jetzt bei mir Justin. Nice to see you again.
Hanspeter, nice to see you again also.
Could you introduce yourself to our community?
Sure. I'm Justin Stailey. I'm Senior Manager of Product Development in the FUJIFILM North America, but I also am a member of the Global Product Planning Team in Omiya, Japan. So I have two jobs, one in the US market and one with the Product Planning Team in Japan.
Yeah, and this is why I want to do a quick interview with you.
Yes.
Because as you are part of the product planning team, I would like to have a little bit more information about the new introduced GFX RF.
All right.
I think we are both very excited about this camera.
Very excited about this camera. I started using it in November of last year, so I have a bit of time using the camera. Yes, it's a very wonderful camera. It fits my lifestyle, my travel, and the type of photography that I love to make, right? It's a very portable, take with you everywhere type camera, and I just love that about it.
As it is so small, I think the question which we received recently or since the product is launched is, why did Fujifilm choose to make the optics like it is and not bigger, or let's say a 2.8, a 35 millimeter, which is equivalent at 28 in full frame? What was the process to get into these decisions?
So there's lots of things that happened to make this decision to stick with this focal length lens. The first was they did some testing, so both scientific testing and real world testing about different focal lengths and how slow of a shutter speed you could handhold. And they found that the 28 millimeter on 35, the 35 on GFX, was sort of the ideal balance of handholdability. So that focal length gives you the most stability without the shutter speeds becoming too long so that you can't hold them. And then the other thing was size, right?
Yeah, size
of
matters
this lens,
here, yeah.
It really matters. They mocked up versions with faster lenses, and you were asking about like a 2.8 lens. The 2.8 lens version was roughly twice as long from the camera body, but also this size lens barrel is roughly the same size as an X series lens. And that lens was roughly the size of a GFX lens. So the lens would be roughly the same size and height as the camera body.
Yeah, it would be even bigger at the end.
It was forcing the camera to grow in size. And we wanted to realize this small body, because this is what's beautiful about this camera, right? Small camera, big pictures.
Compact, yeah.
And that big sensor, it fitting in this camera, everything was made to make that work.
And that was also the decision not to include an OES system into it. For everybody who's not familiar with that, that's the stabilization in the optics.
In the optic, yeah. Stabilization in the optic, because that would have made the barrel of the lens larger to accommodate the stabilization in the optic, or stabilization in the body even, right? If we would have put a sensor IBIS unit, it would have increased the size of the body. The height would have had to increase for the motors to drive the stabilization, right? So that would have made the body larger also. So everything was focused on making this camera as small,
as compact,
as portable as possible.
And as we saw, it is even smaller, not smaller, but it's not that heavy as an XT5 with an 16 to 55 attached on it.
And substantially lighter than the body of a 50R.
Yeah.
Right? That was something else that customers I know in the US are wishing for, maybe another R camera. And this body, it's smaller, it's lighter, even with the lens attached.
Yeah, you have here the sunshade, the shade hood, but my camera hasn't. So you can easily see how
the difference,
small
in the two cameras.
Absolutely, it's great. And even we have the central shutter.
Yes, the leaf shutter, right?
Leaf shutter. Yeah.
So it's same from as X100. So we have flash synchronization at all shutter speeds, which for a lot of photographers, if you want to do portraiture and overpower daylight, that's a really powerful function. And we also have the 4-stop ND filter. So we have that capability also. So wanting to lower your ISO more in bright sun, use F4, this camera gives you that capability and that flexibility.
Yeah, great. Other than that, if you compare the GFX 100RF to the X106, they look very similar.
Yeah.
But one specific thing is missing on this camera. It's the optical viewfinder.
Yeah.
But I believe that's the same as it goes for size and compatibility and compactness.
The size of the finder would, having the optical viewfinder in the corner of this camera would increase the height and the width of the camera, because needing that optical piece, and also with the shade and the wide angle nature of this lens, it would also shade,
would cover.
Yes, the lens would shade the corner of the finder so that it would make it not as useful as the EVF is.
So at the end, you're paying for something which you wouldn't use that much, but it gives the opportunity to have some kind of optical viewfinder, which we discovered when you change in between the
that's one of my favorite features. I
how would you call that?
Well, technically we're calling it digital teleconverter.
Yeah.
But I love the 3 new view modes.
Yeah.
Right. That in the past, whenever you went to a digital teleconverter, it blacked out and just showed you the crop. Now with this camera, it's actually can show you frame lines. Right. So I love a 35 millimeter lens on 35 millimeter format cameras. So being able to use that format on here, see my bright line frames, so I have action on the street, knowing that someone's coming into my frame or going out of my frame. I have that experience, like the hybrid viewfinder, like the optical finder, without needing it, right? Without having the downside of that with parallax or anything else. So that to me is a wonderful little piece.
Absolutely. And what is the most part of the camera which you love the most? Or what you would say that the people, not only in Switzerland, but all over the world, will love with this camera?
I mean, I love the way this camera is constructed. The shape, the form, this new machine's, body structure and all the controls. Everything is metal and everything has that wonderful
aluminum
touch. Yes,
it's aluminum.
It's milled aluminum, yes. So having that feeling and that just the shape, the way we can cut the
edges,
the aluminum, and not being kind of rounded. Like the original X100 has a very rounded kind of corners to it. This has much sharper corners, but just the quality and that little bit of weight that this camera has, it just feels like it's built. It fits so well in my hand. I knew the instant I picked it up the first time, it's a camera you want to hold.
Yeah.
Right? It really is a camera you want to hold.
It doesn't disturb you around. I mean, it's a medium format camera.
Yeah.
You have, as a comparison, you have an older version of this new GFX.
Yeah.
It's likely the same.
This is actually from the 1980s. It's a GS645W. So I picked one of these up. This is actually a 28 millimeter equivalent on 645 film.
Mm-hmm.
So this is sort of the grandfather of 100RF.
And if you compare the size, it's even smaller a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not as tall.
Yeah. If you compare, you have to put it a bit more higher. Yeah, it's
the same. It's the same. So to be able to fit into that, basically the same size camera. The lens with the hood is a little bit longer.
Yeah, but if you compare
it to yours, it's basically the same.
It's crazy. Yeah, we are very excited about the camera. And ja, wir hoffen auch ihr in der Schweiz sind so genauso excited as we are.
Yes.
Und thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And see you next time.
See you next time.